So respected Chief Executive of the National Fisheries Development Board, Dr. C. Swarna, Executive Directors Technical, Shri G. Ratnaraj, Shri Arul Bosco Prakash, other members of NFDB, SAP's Vice President for Events, Mr. Madhusudan Reddy, Vice President for Membership, Mr. Shaji Chako, Vice President for Education, Mr. Srinivas Mohanty, General Secretary, Dr. G. Ramesh, Joint Secretary, Mr. Senthil Kumar, Treasurer, Mr. D. Vijayanand, and Joint Treasurer, Mr. Simon Chalathurey, Executive Committee members, past presidents, members, and all participants. As of now, we are expecting about 500 people to join this program. I warmly welcome you all to the orientation of the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana and the Fisheries Infrastructure Development Fund. These two schemes by the Government of India provide thousands of crores of rupees in the next 5 years for aquaculture development, and a good part of these funds are for investors. Aquaculture in India has been growing at a healthy pace for the last several years, and there is scope for continuous growth. So if you ever wanted to start a new business or wanted to expand your business, this is an opportunity. That's the reason why we want to create awareness of the schemes. This is a government scheme, so the accountability requirements will be high. Let us make no mistake, the scheme will make the investor to adhere to certain processes and go through paperwork. Who best to explain these other than those who administer it? NFDB is the nodal agency for the schemes, and when we requested Madam Dr. Swarna, she readily accepted to provide her staff to be the resource persons for this orientation. We thank her and the resource persons, Shri Ratnaraj and Shri Arul Bosco Prakash, for sparing their time to this meeting. We conducted a survey of 150 participants who had registered by yesterday evening. And the survey showed that 90% of the participants were from the private sector. And about 60% of them said that they are interested in investing in aquaculture. Roughly 75% of the people have heard about the Matsya Sampada Yojana, but more than 50% of the participants said they have not even heard about the FIDF. So again, we would like our people to understand, SAP members as well as people in the private sector, to understand how the scheme works. And Dr. Swarna, Chief Executive of NFDB, will be the next speaker to provide an overview of the two schemes. As many of you know, she has recently joined NFDB. Her academic background is in agriculture and forestry. She's from the Indian Forestry Service and served as the Commissioner of Fisheries for the state of Telangana before she took such job. So I would like to welcome Madam now to provide her overview. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. To this particular orientation webinar to understand the funding opportunities under Prime Minister Matsya Sampada Yojana as well as FIDF, Fisheries Infrastructure Development Fund for Aquaculture Development. You might have heard about RIDF, of NABARD. This FIDF is, it also falls under the under similar category, but here NABARD plus other scheduled banks also are involved. And about SAP, I came to know roughly maybe 2 months back when I got an email from SAP requesting for organizing an orientation program for SAP members. Or for organizing a webinar so that they could understand PMMSY in a better way. Then itself, I noted down the email and I asked our ED to get in touch with SAP people and coordinate for organizing this webinar. And today we are here to get ourselves oriented, especially the aquaculture professionals. I'm sure here not only Sapiens, as they have mentioned in their welcome pamphlet or brochure which they have published to publicize this event. Others also have joined because they have kept it open to others also, if I am right. And the SAP, of course, I came to know only after joining here. Earlier, I knew about certain organizations like SAIFA and some others because they got in touch with me. I was still at state level. But after I joined here, I came to know about SAP, Society for Aquaculture Professionals, which has strategic partners like World Aquaculture Society, Global Aquaculture Alliance, Institution of Aquaculture Singapore. So we can understand that they have quite an amount of international exposure in taking of aquaculture and what is happening in this sector. They know it well in advance, compared to even government organizations like us who are trying to run these schemes, because they will be specializing in a particular thing, so they will be scouting for more information on that technicalities and other kind of things. So in that particular area they will be advanced than us. And here Dr. Shri Arul Victor Suresh got in touch with me some time back. I spoke to him, and Vice President Shri Saji Chako, Shri K. Madhusudan Reddy, and Shri Srinivas Mohanty, all three vice presidents, and many others who have joined here in this webinar. I wish to say good morning to everybody. And as it was mentioned right now, FIDF, yes, it was not known to many. In fact, Mr. Suresh also was not knowing. I suggested, why should not we add FIDF as well? They asked only for orientation on PMMSY, because there was a buzz like PMMSY, so many components, 20,000 crores worth project outlay, and it will run for 5 years and all that. But FIDF was little, low profile kind of thing. But that is a very good program, a very good project for entrepreneurs, which you will come to know in due course of time when a presentation would be made on FIDF as well, and you can have interaction, you can make queries, and you can try to understand as well. And first, PMMSY, it's like an umbrella scheme. It's an upgraded version of Blue Revolution scheme, I can say. The more, scale of finance is better and more activities are covered, and quantum of the total outlay is also quite higher compared to Blue Revolution scheme. And the main objective as well as expected outcome is like boosting aquaculture production by reaching 7 million metric tons in 5 years time. Besides, strengthening capture fisheries, both marine sector as well as inland fisheries sector. And it is supposed to address the critical gaps in fisheries production, productivity, post-harvest infrastructure, strengthening value chain, and attending to overall fishers' welfare. Total estimated investment over a span of 5 years, that is from 2021 to 24-25, is 20,050 crores. And there are two important sectors under this. One is central sector. Second one is centrally sponsored scheme sector. Central scheme and centrally sponsored scheme. Under centrally sponsored scheme, major chunk of the fund would be flowing up to, 18,330 crores. And under central scheme, it would be roughly 1720 crores, because CSS will be implemented through states. Because fisheries is a state subject, as you are aware. And the central scheme the funds would be available for certain organizations, like central government organizations, could be research institutions, could be, academic institutions. And second thing is certain categories of certain components, which could not be fit under CSS. Under those components, anybody can apply under central scheme. And here CSS, all project proposals go through NFDB, because NFDB is the nodal implementing authority. And here there will be a project appraisal committee which scrutinizes the proposals sent by the states. And then they will be in constant interaction with the states, to address the gaps, what they can propose, what they cannot, and if there are any gaps, giving some time for rectifying the gaps. And the final, recommendation will be sent to Department of Fisheries for getting sanctioned. And then from DOF, funds will directly go to states. This is one kind of arrangement. Second kind of arrangement would be NFDB would be implementing certain activities directly, again by involving states or by involving certain organizations, could be research organizations, academic, or even entrepreneurs. So that will be another kind of arrangement. Third one would be directly applying to DOF, Department of Fisheries, and on the schemes which are eligible to be applied, and getting the sanctions directly from DOF. These are different kinds of arrangements. When you go through the presentation, you can understand. Out of this 20,050 crores, central share, proposed central share is around 7,687 crores. Balance is state share plus beneficiary share. And the kind of subsidy pattern and all would be discussed in later presentation. And we foresee that all India, I mean, cutting across all the states, some state may be quite advanced in aquaculture, because here mostly you will be interested in aquaculture. So I'll be talking more about that. And some states might not be that advanced, but they do have a scope for increasing, their aquaculture activity in whatever way possible. If you look at the whole country, there are 4 major regions from aquaculture point of view. One is coastal states, marine states, and inland states, big inland states, which, put together, these have maximum potential, as all of you are aware. And third one is Himalayan states. Certain things you can do in these coastal or inland states, like cold water fisheries, or particular kind of species that can thrive in that kind of environment. That has to be carried out there only. Also, there also you have, a lot of demand for fish, but they are not able to produce that much. So they are getting it, transported from south or, east. So there is a need to boost up production and productivity there as well. Besides cold water fisheries, there is a potential for setting up RAS units, biofloc units, and raceways if it is cold water fisheries. And fourth one is northeastern region. They are very, very deficient in fish production because of the terrain, because of various kinds of issues that do bother northeastern states. But even here, RAS and biofloc units do have a great potential. Plus paddy fish, the cultivation and all that we are taking up. But the first 2 categories of states do have maximum potential, as I need not mention again. And the activities range, there is a big range of activities covered under this particular scheme, like cage culture. It can be inland, like reservoirs, or even brackish water, or even sea cages. We have tried 1 or 2 projects were implemented through CMFRA. Piloting was done, and it worked out well, but entrepreneurs have to come forward, have to the DOF has to work out like how to, if entrepreneurs come forward, how to work it out, especially for species, which are much in demand to get exported, or even in domestic market, high value species, as only those species we can consider, otherwise it would not be profitable. And in case of reservoirs and all, already we have number of examples where cage culture has been set up. Jharkhand, Telangana, and many places, and the cages units are doing well wherever good entrepreneurship is there. And species diversity is also a possibility, as we worked with SIFA and SIFRI. It's not just Pangasius and Tilapia, but several other species can be, freshwater species, can be cultured in these cages, but with good entrepreneurial inputs. Sometimes, it's just pushing by government, only pushing by government means it doesn't happen. So if entrepreneur also is having those capabilities, definitely those units are working better. Pen culture is another thing, but here there would be a lot of policy issues, like that water body is owned by whom, and who are already dependent on this water body for their livelihoods. So these two, wherever, such water bodies are there, there will be a number of issues entwined with, taking up that particular activity. So state governments do have to play a crucial role in sorting out, such kind of issues and provide a platform. to private entrepreneurs if they try to venture into that kind of activity in inland water bodies. Otherwise, local cooperatives or, other entrepreneurs who can, by coordinating with local cooperatives, they can get into this enterprises. Wetland development is another issue. Here, only indigenous species are encouraged, no exotic species, because we have to keep the environmental concerns also in mind. And so that has limited potential for taking up the kind of aquaculture you see elsewhere. But even there, in enhancing production and productivity, both, the twin objectives are very important. And capture fisheries, we are strengthening by providing, incorporating a component with fish seed stocking in the reservoirs. And the chain of activities, they do include setting up a brood bank, hatcheries, then rearing ponds, ponds for table fish growing, disease surveillance, training and capacity building. And the other component which PMMSY would be emphasizing on by taking up a pilot would be traceability and certification. This not much work is done in India in aquaculture area. There is, ISO certification 9001 certification for quality management. Till that part, yes. But beyond that, for aquaculture practices, we do not have any certification in India right now. Actually, NFDB is working with the QCI to develop a scheme. And also, NFDB would be owning that particular scheme and would promote that scheme. The certifying agencies also will come into picture. And the idea would be later it should expand beyond India into other SAARC countries. We are working in this direction. And the pilot will be, first the broad guidelines would be issued, later the pilot project would be taken up. NFDB would be playing a key role in all this. And there will be entrepreneurship models, which you do not see right now under PMMSY guidelines. It's not listed among those components because it's available for you, like what are the components. We have the detailed guidelines uploaded in the websites of both NFDB as well as DOF. Also a ready reckoner for a quick glance through, that is also available in both the websites. But this particular component will not be available there. So this entrepreneurship models, a separate budget allocation would be there. And here there would be like models where the subsidy component may go up to 1.5 crores or even 2 crores, depending on which category they belong to. If it is general category, it will be little less. And if it is SC, ST women category, it will be little more. Here it will be 40%, there it will be 60%. But all every enterprise or every such proposal must be linked to bank credit. And partly not less than 20% would be the beneficiary, or it could be an individual or it could be a company contribution. So this basically, this is the entrepreneurship models, and there will be a certain list of certain activities. If your application fits into that, there is a possibility. But I should keep in mind that there is a limit to this as well, because a single activity, for example, RAS, if 10 applications come, we can't sanction all 10 because you have to spread these things across different kinds of activities. Similarly, 10 applications in similar activity come from one particular area. Definitely, because at country level, we have to keep in mind geographical equity and, certain other criteria in mind. So you cannot give everything to a particular area or a particular activity. So these things we may have to rationalize a bit before sanctioning. So it's not like unlimited kind of thing. And another one is FFPOs, fish farmer producer organizations or companies. If it is companies, they would be registered under Companies Act, as you are aware. If it is normal FFPO, it can be registered under the state societies registration. There would be a Societies Act for every state. That has to be done. Even cooperatives are eligible for this. And under this also will almost follow, entrepreneurship model kind of thing. Even for this, guidelines are still under preparation. We just communicated the draft guidelines to DOF. They have to vet it, and Central Appraisal Committee has to clear it. So then we will be able to publish it in our website and publicize. So these are the models coming up. FFPOs, for this also there will be a limit, upper limit. What we proposed was 1.5 crores of subsidy plus 50 lakhs of managerial assistance. But we have to see how it comes through when we get back it from DOF. But these are all the things where we do have scope for encouraging aquaculture professionals. And the domestic market part, that is another area which we are going to lay focus on. 1 month back, we had a webinar on domestic fish consumption. All entrepreneurs who played a significant role in this area, they participated, and we heard their views, and some very successful initiatives also are there. We need to encourage a lot to increase fish consumption within the country limits as well, because mostly we keep talking about export requirements and all that, because the foreign exchange is visible, but domestic consumption itself has to be increased, and domestic market has to be, we have to improve the domestic market limits so that our production will have a readily available, customer segment here itself. And monitoring and evaluation is another key area which NFDB will be taking up. Because we propose to establish one project management consultancy here, and management information system will be done from here. And there is another thing which we have taken up on a pilot basis. It was taken up 2 years back, but because of COVID situation, I know it is limping right now, but it will come back after few months, hopefully, for fisheries market price information system. And like what are the market rates for different species and all. So that is happening for 84 markets. NFDB had been collecting information. We would like to scale it up to 200 markets by this financial year end. Ultimately, it should be more than 1,000 markets spreading across the country. So we can see what is the price variation for the similar species across the country. That will give us a lot of valuable inputs for ideating. And besides this, we also have ideas to expand this FMPIS, scope to include the hatchery owners and the table fish, aquaculture, table fish pond owners, everybody, to create a database. Like so-and-so aquaculture person, the farmer is here, entrepreneur is here, he does this, and this is available with him. This is his contact number, email number, so that anybody interested in that particular good can contact that particular hatchery owner or the pond owner, even if it is a small quantity of production. So this is what we would be doing in due course of time. I'm sure that will give us valuable information, and that will that will help us to connect the dots. I mean, what are the gaps, so that we can ideate and formulate schemes, make proposals, even make policies. So NFDB will try to play that role in recommending certain things to DOF, because ultimately it is the ministry which has to take a call. And there also will be specialized themes like seaweed culture, certain things, but with the local fishermen to enhance their livelihoods. Maybe at enterprise level, at little bigger level also, it can be taken up. We are just looking into this because the technology is not yet stabilized. Certain projects have been taken up, but we are looking forward to do more work in this area. Ornamental hatcheries is another area which has good potential. And the species, as you are aware, Indian major carps, shrimp, the 2 types plus scampi, freshwater prawn, tilapia, pangasius, trout, cold water fisheries thing. Recently, we had discussions with the Denmark delegation, and Norway is another country. So we are having collaborations with relevant organizations there, whether government or private ones. Crab, mud crab is another thing. Marine finfish, sea bass, cobia, pompano, and grouper. These will be the species where a lot of focus would be laid on. And we will also be collaborating with research institutions. I am sure some entrepreneurs also are in touch with relevant research institutions like CIFA. They have an incubation center, and SIBA is there for brackish water. CIFRI, as you are aware, case culture and all that. CMFRI and CSM CRI are two institutions which work exclusively in marine sector, establishing sea cages and then seaweed culture, mud crab. These areas and even pompano, sea bass, and these species, they are doing a lot of research, and we want to take that research to commercial level. Right now, pilots have been done. Something is happening, but how to make it, to take it to a commercial scale? That is the question before us. And NBFGR is there. Cryopreservation of, like off-season breeding doesn't happen. So this could be a solution. So they are working on that. One particular project they are working, and so that throughout the season, throughout the year, there could be, availability of the spawn and the fry. And disease surveillance is another subject which NBFGR is looking at. Because recently I attended one national level consultation. I was just hearing on aquaculture. Two important things which I came across was, one is disease surveillance, how to, because aquaculture is prone to a lot of such, because we have seen several such incidences in the past. So there is a NASPAD program which will be funded by NFDB. It will be implemented through NFDB. NBFGR will be taking up, and it will spread over, the 3 to 4 years. There will be different cutting across the country. Samples will be taken and they will be tested, and the database that would be incorporated, results would be incorporated in the database so that analysis can take place. It will also help the exports to happen, because all these certain things are essential for other countries to believe in our goods. So this particular activity also NFDB is going to coordinate. And aquatic quarantine, if companies are getting, especially the shrimp aquaculture sector, they mostly import the shrimp juveniles or post larvae. And in case of cold water fisheries, so far we have not done anything. But as far as shrimp is concerned, aquatic quarantine is a must. So CAA, Coastal Aquaculture Authority, and EMPEDA, NFDB is coordinating with them also. Like we provide fund to earlier also, now also there is a proposal to fund EMPEDA to expand their aquatic quarantine facility. And CAAs, we are working with CAA, and we have a lab here which will also act as a referral lab for testing the samples collected by CAA from the shrimp pond owners. And these are the main points which I wanted to mention, because there will be several other details which Mr. Ratinraj will be dwelling deep into the subject. But one thing you need to keep in mind, that PMMSY has certain limitations, subsidies. And even if your proposal is good, suppose the upper limit is, there is a ceiling, we will not be able to help beyond that. And but there is another scheme which I mentioned earlier, FIDF. This is actually, this particular scheme was brought out to close that credit gap. So this started with the first phase started with 7,522 crores outlay, out of which 5,266 crores would be loan component. And basically only infrastructure proposals would be considered here. And that list also is there in NFDB website, you can see. And now Mr. Bosco also will explain the details. Interest subvention would be up to 3%. And NLE's nodal loaning entities would be NABARD for government entities and scheduled banks for private bodies, could be individuals or companies. NFDB is nodal implementing authority here also. So every project proposal comes to NFDB, it gets scrutinized, and then it gets recommended or rejected at this level. So we recommend to DOF, and there is a committee there which examines, and then it will go to NABARD if it is government. If it is individual, they have to approach scheduled banks and get the loans. And the whole thing, it will continue like just like RIDF and all. It is facing initial hiccups because especially government programs, not big issue, but private, especially the individuals, we are seeing that banks are still hesitant to give that kind of extend that kind of credit facility. So we are constantly following up with DOF, NABARD, and soon we are going to have consultation or interaction with the SLBC conveners as well. So in just like you, even they are not much aware about this particular scheme. So we are trying to drive this scheme through for past 1 month after finding out the gaps, like why the scheme is not that popular. And 1 month back we issued an advertisement in the newspaper also. Then some buzz happened, and we are getting some applications, and we are going to constantly publicize this particular scheme so that people will know about the scheme in a better way. Companies, organizations, individuals, governments, quasi-government organizations, all are eligible. Maximum credit limit is 150 crores. So, even a small minimum, there is no limit, but it should be like a bankable enterprise. There are very small units also, that got sanctioned, recommended by us and got sanctioned. So, with this overview, now, I would like to thank SAP for giving NFDB a forum to discuss about these two schemes, and we would be there. We would be coordinating with all aquaculture relevant or related organizations. We are pro. So for any clarifications, please approach us. And we are available on usually on Facebook and Twitter also. Information we keep on posting, and our officials also here. And there is a particular email ID where you can send queries also. You can directly approach concerned officials also. So with this, I think I have taken more time than what was allocated to me. But thank you once again, and it's nice to be interacting with you all. If any queries are there, because all our only panelists are provided the link so that they can speak, others can only watch, I think, watch and hear. But you can send your queries to the NFDB queries. Our people also will be, I think you will be giving the email ID also, no, in your presentations. Yeah. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, Madam, for your very broad overview of the two schemes. Thank you for your kind remarks about our organization. And, you answered one of the questions that we just received about the banks. One of our participants sent a question that, yes, everything is fine, but when we approach the bank, the bank is not very supportive. So I think, more elaborate discussion on this will happen, when the speakers are presenting the schemes. But concerns like this, we will definitely bring to your attention. And so we don't see this as a one-off event, that we see this as a beginning, but our interest is to have genuine investors in aquaculture, getting benefited from this and our sector growing. That is really the interest that we have in this entire thing. So it will be just the beginning of a longer process. So I would like to thank you for your very kind support to this event, and for bringing the speakers, and also suggesting that FIDF, as a viable option for funding. I'd like to thank you for doing that. At this moment, I want to again welcome all the participants who joined a little late. From what I understand, we have close to about 220 participants through Zoom, and then we have close to 250 people attending through Facebook. So it's a good number. And I'd like to once again welcome all. We also have our founder president, Mr. Santana Krishnan, has recently joined. We have our past president, Mr. Ravikumar Elanki, has joined. Our vice president, Saju Chako, has joined. Welcome you all. And also Tikku sir, welcome. He's one of the veterans of the industry, one of the pioneers who created the hatchery in India, and also was the president of the Hatchery Association for a long time. And thank you very much for honoring us by being here. And at this moment, I'd like to transfer over to our Vice President for Events, Mr. Madhusudan Reddy. I would like to invite him and introduce the next speaker in this program. Thank you, Madhu, for taking over.